Hey, joyful feasters, it's John here. It's a chilly but beautiful day at the south of the James Farmers Market where I just picked up some ingredients for Eucharist tomorrow. So assuming that we don't get a snowstorm and have to call it off, we'll have a good time at Eucharist tomorrow at Gather, 409 East Main Street. So I got some cabbage, some ground beef, and some butternut squash, all locally raised, to make cabbage rolls for tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. Should be a nice, warm, yummy winter meal. And of course, the rest is potluck. Some folks have indicated what they're going to bring, and if you want to come and can bring something, that would be awesome. I thought I'd also give you a little preview of what we'll be talking about at Eucharist tomorrow. So we're continuing to read at our Eucharist gatherings through the Gospel of Mark, to read these stories of Jesus. Some folks are hearing them for the first time. Some others are maybe taking another look at them. The story tomorrow is about the Sabbath, and I thought I'd just read it. It's not very long, and then just say a few things that we might talk about tomorrow. So this is Mark 2:23 through 28. Jesus went through the wheat fields on the Sabbath. As the disciples made their way, they were picking the heads of wheat. And the Pharisees said to Jesus, "Look, why are they breaking the Sabbath law?" He said to them, "Haven't you ever read what David did when he was in need, when he and those with him were hungry? During the time when Abiathar was high priest, David went into God's house and ate the bread of the presence, which only the priests were allowed to eat. He also gave bread to those who were with him." Then he said, "The Sabbath was created for humans. Humans weren't created for the Sabbath. This is why the human one is Lord even over the Sabbath." So there's at least three good conversations to be had here. One is about the Sabbath. So in our over-programmed, over-busy, over-scheduled, overextended lives, we need rest. We need a day of rest. But how many of us take it? And when we don't, what are the consequences? Second, in his commentary on this passage, the late, great Bill Plaker noted that almost everything that Jesus quotes from this story from the Old Testament is wrong.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
So Bill doesn't think that Jesus just misquoted it or that the writer of the Gospel of Mark got it wrong. Instead, he suggests that maybe Jesus intentionally told the story wrong to see if the Pharisees would notice, and they didn't, which means that even though they're so hung up on these traditions and these rules, they don't actually know the scriptures very well. And in today's world, there's lots of people that use the Bible, certain passages pulled out of context, as a weapon, or use traditions and interpretations as weapons, but maybe actually don't know the full context or don't think about the scripture as a whole. So maybe we can talk about that as well. And third, and related to that, is just the notion of what's the point of religious traditions or practices like the Sabbath. Are they for us, or are we for them? In other words, we don't necessarily need to be slaves to particular religious traditions, even though they may be very helpful or very good. And so how do we juggle that in today's world between religious observance but not being slaves to those particular traditions or being bound by those unnecessarily? So those are three great things that we could talk about. So hopefully the snow will hold off, and we'll see you tomorrow and have a good time together. Take care.